From the Chattahoochee Tech Studio, welcome to the Marietta Daily Journal Podcast. Today is Friday, January 13th, and happy 62nd birthday to actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm Dan Ratcliffe, and here are your top stories presented by Engineered Solutions of Georgia. The North Cobb Rotary Club shed light on sex trafficking issues. Kennesaw State received a grant to help in the fight against opioid addiction. And Kennesaw's mayor put on quite a show with his State of the City speech. We'll have all this and more coming up on the Marietta Daily Journal Podcast.
Engineered Solutions is your locally owned and operated commercial and residential foundation company that specializes in foundation repair, basement waterproofing, and crawl space encapsulation.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. I've done the research already, so you don't have to.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Sex trafficking is everywhere, even though many people fail to notice it. That's why the Rotary Club of North Cobb hosted The Truth About Sex Trafficking in Our Community, a forum this week that brought together Cobb leaders, concerned citizens, and groups combating sex trafficking in the county and across Georgia. North Cobb Rotary member Hicks Malonson is an ambassador for Rescuing Hope, a Marietta-based nonprofit fighting sex trafficking through educational programming and support for survivors. Georgia Assistant Attorney General Caitlin Salinas works for Georgia's statewide Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit, which was created in 2019 as the first of its kind in the U.S. Salinas noted that it's far less likely nowadays for traffickers to walk through an airport or hotel with large quantities of cocaine, but it's much easier for them to walk through either with a young person that they're trafficking. Susan Norris, the executive director of Rescuing Hope and member of the Grace Commission, moderated a panel of local first responders to human trafficking at Tuesday's forum. Norris said one study showed a 40% jump in trafficking during the pandemic because students were online, not only in class, but socializing with other students and potentially traffickers. More information about Rescuing Hope can be found on their website, rescuinghope.com. For help or to report suspicions of human trafficking, call 911, the Georgia Coalition to Combat Human Trafficking, or the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Kennesaw State University's Wellstar School of Nursing has received a federal grant to teach graduate students how to help patients break increasingly deadly opioid addictions. Assistant Professor of Nursing Kathy Barnett and Wellstar School of Nursing Associate Director of a Graduate Program Susan Beidler teamed up to earn the nearly $729,000 grant, which comes from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, a subsidiary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Barnett and Beidler will implement curricular revisions in the KSU Masters of Science in Nursing programs that address decreasing stigma and increasing access to early interventions for substance use disorders. According to data from the Georgia Department of Public Health, drug overdose deaths increased by 61% from 2019 to 2021, and fentanyl-involved overdose deaths increased by 230%, illustrating the urgent need for more medical training in helping people with opioid addiction. Opioids include many prescription pain medicines, fentanyl, and illegal drug heroin.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
In a theatrical and winding speech interlaced with musical tie-ins and clips from Back to the Future, Kennesaw Mayor Derek Easterling recapped his 7 years in office before a crowd of civic and business leaders this week. Easterling, who was first elected in 2015, was re-elected without opposition in 2019. This year marks the final year of his second term. The mayor told the MDJ after speaking that he intends to run for a third term this November. In his State of the City address, Easterling ticked through a laundry list of developments that the city has seen during his time in office, recapping improvements to parks, roads, and other infrastructure, new businesses and housing developments, changes to city services and systems, and more. Easterling said some of the things the city can look forward to this year are the opening of the Depot Park Amphitheater, progress on a new public safety center, the start of a Cherokee Street streetscape project, improvements to Ben King Road, and more. McEachern pulled away early and never looked back as the Indians made the short trip to defeated arch-rival Hillgrove 68-57 in Tuesday's Region 3-6A opener. McEachern reversed an early Hillgrove advantage and took control of the game with an 18-0 run that began late in the first quarter and lasted until midway through the second quarter. The Indians went on to outscore the Hawks 42-20 through the second and third quarters combined. Though the win gave McEachern an early leg up in the regional standings, for Coach Tremaine Antrim Sr. and his players, getting the win over their crosstown rival was more significant. Moses Hipps scored 15 points, and Ace Bailey added 14 points to lead McEachern. Hillgrove did narrow the gap a little bit at the end, but the Hawks were only able to get as close as 10 points, 61-51, with 5 minutes remaining in the game.
You deserve better than your bank. Better service, better rates, better solutions. If you live or work in Cobb County, now is the perfect time to make the switch to Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank. Since 1960, Credit Union of Georgia has been providing Northwest Georgia with financial solutions that make sense for your home, business, and family. As a homegrown, not-for-profit cooperative, our members are our mission. Not only will you get the best loan rates, you'll get personalized customer service from people who understand your needs. Plus, Credit Union of Georgia provides real convenience with a network of more than 30,000 accessible ATMs and branch locations across the country. Of course, there's also 5 locations right here in Cobb County. Ready to see how much better your banking can be with Credit Union of Georgia? Become a member today or apply for a loan online by visiting cuofga.org. Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank.
Are you struggling to find the right home in these tough markets? Hi, I'm Jeffrey Drake of Drake Realty, with 7 offices across Metro Atlanta and 2 right here in Cobb County. The real estate market in Cobb County can be competitive. That's why you need a team on your side. My team of over 700 agents is one of the biggest in the county, and we have been turning dreams into realities for 28 years now. Next time you decide to buy or sell in Cobb, trust the team that knows the lay of the land. Visit us online at drakerealty.com.
The Marietta Board of Education voted unanimously this week to elect Carrie Minervini of Ward 6 as their chair for another year. Minervini also served as chair last year. Unlike the Cobb County Board of Education, Marietta School Board members can serve consecutive terms as chair. The board also unanimously elected Ward 1's Jeff DeJarnette as vice chair. He replaces Jason Waters of Ward 2 in the role. Board Attorney Clem Doyle distributed index cards to the board members, each of whom privately wrote down their nomination for chair and vice chair. He then announced the results: 7 nominations for Minervini for chair, 7 for DeJarnette as vice chair. Votes were then held to approve both appointments. South Cobb welcomed a new community garden this week, or at least the beginnings of one. A coalition of agricultural, gardening, and healthcare groups gathered off Powder Springs Road at the Cobb County Farm Bureau offices. There, partners broke ground on a garden that's intended to help out with food insecurity and healthier living. The Wellness Garden, as it will be known, so far is simply a lawn next to the Farm Bureau with a few posts sunk for a fence, but it will one day feature 15 garden beds, each 12 feet by 4 feet, along with a pollinator garden and hoop house. Unlike some community gardens, which are merely shared spaces for residents to grow their own produce, the Wellness Gardens will be geared specifically toward providing food to those in need and spreading the word on how to use locally grown produce. To that end, volunteers alongside nutritionists from Wellstar Health System, one of the partners in the venture, will be holding classes in the Farm Bureau offices on healthy cooking and eating. Renee Lemon, one of the master gardeners, has been involved in several community gardens throughout the county, including one which opened in Ackworth this summer. She said the group has been meeting regularly to plan the Powder Springs Garden since June, with the hope of starting to get plants in the ground this spring.
Unknown error. Every time I think my business is on track, I get these computer issues that shut me down for a day.
Ever since my business partnered with Click IT of Marietta, I don't even worry about those types of things. They're local, they have 20 years experience, and specialize in helping small businesses just like mine and yours.
Do they handle hardware and software?
Hardware, software, malware, you name it. Just tell them when and where, and they will be there. Visit them online at marietta.clickitcomputers.com or give them a call at 678-202-4600. Instead of submitting a support ticket, call Marietta Click It. Thanks again for listening to today's Marietta Daily Journal Podcast. Did you know over 50% of Americans listen to podcasts weekly? Make sure you join us for our next episode and share this podcast on social media with your friends and family. You can find us on TikTok at MDJ Podcast, add us to your Alexa Flash Briefing or Google Home Briefing, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. Darren Sutherland, Executive Director. Jacob Sutherland, Director. Matt Golden, News Director. Chen Ray Zhang, Director Producer. And Jason Gentarola, Audio Producer. All rights reserved.